and welcome Luke to the stage.
Come on, all back. Yes. Oh, that is so fantastic.
Yes,
Well, we're going to try and match that with just a few moments of video together. How did he do that? If you Google Guy Starts Dance Party and find it on YouTube, you see about 3 minutes of golden YouTube video. He's on his own for quite a bit longer than this. We've edited that down before the first tribe member joins him, and then of course, as we see, he's joined by the rest. And my talk is tribal marketing, so I couldn't think of a better place to start than that video. A little bit about me. I'm Luke Aulin. I'm incredibly grateful to be here as one of your keynotes. Thanks for having me. A bit about me, I know what it's like to be a failed entrepreneur. I've also been a successful employee, a self-proclaimed intrapreneur. And today I'm the founder and CEO of RTOWN. RTOWN's a digital marketing company. We're headquartered in Vancouver, BC. But we have RTOWNers all over the province of BC, our tribe members. And we're currently expanding into Alberta as we speak. I'm also a world traveler, so I've been to 62 countries, give or take, in my 37 years of life, mostly in the developing world. These have been fantastic trips, all of them. I love talking about them and sharing the story. The hardest part, though, is coming home from these places in the West, and this is my home, and hearing people here bitch about their commute, among other first world problems. But we do have first world problems. This is one I'm incredibly passionate about helping solve. This is a Statistics Canada graph. Sorry for its age, but we've lost Statistics Canada data for some time. This is between 2002 and 2008, and what you're looking at is a white line representing an average of about 99,000 new businesses starting up every single year in Canada. And the red line, unfortunately, is an average of 85,000 businesses. It says exiting, but not the good exit. These are businesses that go out of business every single year in Canada. So my hope is that I'm going to impart some things I've learned from others on the rest of the group today. And I've titled it Tribal Marketing. I'm going to focus in two primary areas. One is helping people find their tribe. I don't believe most people have. I'll share some data with you today. And then we're going to talk about how we can evolve our organizations so we can go home and have more alignment wherever we are working. And let's jump right in. So tribe is about people at the end of the day. Who are the people involved in our tribes? Well, there's the entrepreneurs, not unlike the guy dancing. These are the folks that go first. They risk looking like an ass, maybe for some time, and maybe they're never joined by a tribe. They go first. The interesting thing about entrepreneurs is they are 30% more likely to be depressed. They're 29% more likely to have ADHD. They're 12% more likely to be substance abusers and 11% more likely to be bipolar. Now, not to make light of mental illness, it's a serious thing, but it seems like many of our organizations are being run by unhappy hens, and I can be one at times. Who else is part of our tribe? Well, we have the employees, of course, and this is a Gallup study done. The data is February 2017, so a lot more recent. It's about 100 million employees in the United States, so think 10x less always in Canada, so about 10 million employees in Canada. About 33%, according to this study, so that's kind of this group of the audience here. These folks are engaged and happy in their work. A full 16%, so that's these folks, and let's see in the back. These folks are actively disengaged. Of course, these folks are always in the back, so it's probably the back row. Actively disengaged means you're essentially, sort of damaging a lot of the good the folks over here are doing. So you really don't like what you're doing so much that you're hurting the organization you're with. And then the rest of the pie, the rest of the group here, a full 51%, they're neither engaged nor disengaged. They're just kind of sitting there. So that's this group and a couple of you in the front here. 51% are just there. So it seems to me like whether you're an entrepreneur or an employee, most people are living their life like Charlie Brown. And what I hope to do is get people thinking a little bit more like Snoopy. We have one shot at life. We don't know if we have another one. We spend most of our waking life working. Most of us do. And I don't think anybody anywhere disagrees with the idea that we are happiest in our work when we find it meaningful and when we're surrounded by people we enjoy working with. So that's what I mean about finding your tribe. The two areas in business parlance, and I'm hoping every company adopts a common language around this, because I think a common language is necessary to have common solution. We're talking about core purpose and core values. So let's start with Maslow's hierarchy. You guys are no stranger to this, so I won't dwell on it too long, but the basic human needs look like this if we believe Maslow's hierarchy. Let's contemplate for a moment, though, that we replace human with business needs. It actually doesn't look a heck of a lot different, except at the bottom, instead of physiological needs, a business has a need for product market fit, right? We have to solve a problem in the world and have a market we can address with that. The next layer up is the profitable, sustainable business model. So this is about earning more money on the path to solving the world's problems, but saving some out the end, so we're spending less than we can make to serve it. That's usually where businesses spend most of their time, and business leaders stay there, and rightly so. There's really no business, there's no dent in the universe if we go bankrupt. We change the world by running profitably, and at long enough timeline, customers do pay for everything. So what I want to say is if business leaders move up the chain of Maslow's hierarchy as well and start thinking in terms of purpose and meaning behind the work, I believe that'll serve the bottom stuff a lot better, and we're seeing this more and more. Of course, it's 2017, so Wi-Fi and battery, essential. So purpose is about why. Why is purpose? No better entrepreneur today, I think, than Elon Musk to highlight this. On the one hand, he's exploring intergalactic travel so that one day we can live on another planet in the inevitable day that Earth becomes uninhabitable. And on the other hand, he's making the planet cleaner and greener, so it's a wee bit more comfortable until then. So I don't think anyone doesn't get behind the purpose of propagating the human species. It's no wonder there are so many musketeers helping him push it along. I do want to poke one hole, though, in the whole Tony Stark of our time thing. I've seen the movies. Tony Stark is saving the world, but I think he's enjoying it more than I believe Elon actually is. He says that being an entrepreneur is like eating glass and staring into the abyss of death. So even Elon can be an unhappy hen. So if purpose is the why, then core values are the how. Okay, so how is about behavior. When you're looking for your tribe, if you haven't found it yet, look for why it exists, and then look for how they behave. And behave is the actual behaviors. And I'll try to highlight this between stated and core values. Someone might state, I really value getting shit done. I have a real bias for higher learning. But if that individual goes home and is smoking weed and watching mindless Netflix every night, they don't actually have a bias for action or higher learning. They're just saying they are. And when stated values are misaligned with core values, you can get disaster. Like Enron, I think one of their core values was integrity. That's a disaster. But when they're aligned, when they're completely in sync, we get some real magic happening. And so if you aren't clear on your own personal core values, I recommend everyone spend some time just reflecting on the things you've done in your life. You'll invariably find a group of people who share the same values as you, and the internet's enabling this in so many different pockets today. It's a really cool thing. I was talking to a couple of people last night, and they were talking about how much they love their organization and how much they feel in sync. And I asked them, well, have you stated your core values? No, but there's something there. There's some real magic between us that's keeping us together. And what I want to say is that when organizations get to work on really putting that into a code, really defining them, getting very, very specific on the words they choose, we can see some real magic happen with tribes and the organizations we're in. So to highlight an example close to home, we probably know 1-800-GOT-JUNK. Their CEO, we got some folks in the room, right on. Their CEO is Brian Scudamore. We spoke a couple of weeks ago. So this is a junk removal company, right? I mean, that's massed hundreds of employees and doing hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue, right? Doing junk removal. They show up on Oprah. Now, I think there's something more at work to the magic here. When I talked to Brian about this concept of tribal marketing, he related an example of going to Las Vegas for their first retreat where they had the blue wigs pop out. And you can imagine dozens and dozens of people wearing the exact same outfit. The only way to behave with blue wigs is a bit goofy. And onlookers kept coming by. Who are you guys? What is this? Well, we're 1-800-GOT-JUNK. And you know what's going through the other person's head is, God, how do I become a part of this? Not unlike the folks sprinting towards the dance floor. Purpose and values at work. If it sounds soft, let's take a civil contracting business, a blue-collar industry, if you will. This is Acres Enterprise in Kamloops. Their CEO is Jason Page. They've been a client of my company, RTOWN's, for a couple of years. I spoke to Jason the other day. He bought the company in 2012. It didn't have core values. He went to work on this almost immediately. You get a sense for it if you can see the bottom. It says, these are the fundamental core values exercised every day by every employee. There's really no room for people not to live by it when they state that. We are Acres, they say. Jason is a systems guy. He thinks in terms of process, and he saw a whole pile of inefficiency he wanted to roll out. So they went to work on not only their core values, but naming this new system, and they collectively named it. 65 people coming together to name the system at the time. That's not a small operation to make a big change in. But it was widely adopted. Fast forward to 2017, they've got over 150 employees now, and this is in the interior of BC. Jason was named the CEO of the year last year by the Chamber of Commerce up there, a cornerstone to their success or their core values. And let's come to Build Direct now, a technology company in Vancouver as a last example. Jeff Booth is their CEO. They've grown to $500 million in value. Jeff is actively writing about their story right now. They've chosen to completely redo just about everything they do in their business. So you can imagine a company of that size doing it, but he believes they'll get through it. He believes they're on the other side of it, and he's talking about it right now. And when you look at their core values, it's actually not surprising, and I have no doubt that with these embedded into the DNA of their culture, they'll pull through. They talk about being better every day, so they've found a better way to serve their customers, so off they go. They talk about the power of perseverance, opportunities happening in the hardest of challenges. And I love the top one, do the right thing. So the hard right decision is chosen over the easy wrong one. So there's no doubt they'll pull through it when everyone that they've selected on their tribe cares about these things inherently in themselves. So those are stories of growth. I'm going to talk a little bit about where core values and purpose can come into play when things get a bit difficult. So this is from Cameron Harold, whom I'm thankful for allowing me to use it. I've linked to his blog about this. This is the deck's available, by the way, for everybody. I'll show you how at the end of this. Cameron talks about this from the entrepreneur's perspective. I think it equally applies to employees or anyone starting a new venture. We always start something new with a tremendous amount of excitement. What's common among that excitement, though, is it's not from a place of full information. He calls it the uninformed optimism stage. We get to a point where we got a heck of a lot more information, and usually for the entrepreneur, and I've felt this, it goes something like this, like, holy shit, this is way harder than I thought it would be. My assumptions were all wrong. What am I going to do? We inevitably spiral down to that crisis of meaning point, and it's this moment where I believe core values and purpose play the biggest role when you have them. Because when it's meaningful, you punch through to the other side. If it isn't, you'll have an easier time saying, you know what, I wasn't really that into that anyway, and you crash and burn out. So if you'll permit me a story, I've got a personal one that relates to that. This is from our town. This is the story of the Phantom VC. My company today is 3.5 years old. About a year into going, we felt at our team that we had product market fit. We felt that we had a profitable, sustainable business model, and so did a local VC in Vancouver who had been courting us and us them, and he thought it was looking pretty good. He approached with a term sheet, so that's a statement of interest to invest a sizable amount of money, in this case with an agreed upon value of what the company was. This is an exciting and scary moment. I phoned my lawyer. I said, hey, this is great. He said, Luke, fantastic, congratulations, let's go forward. The due diligence will cost you about this much. I went, holy cow, I don't know if we can afford that bill if we don't pass due diligence, if we don't make it through this. That's a pretty scary moment. And by the way, there's a cash pinch in the company out in the future in our forecasted cash flow, so I wasn't sure if we were going to make it through this, but hey, this is a great opportunity, so you go. 3.5 months later, it's all done. We're meeting at the lawyer's office, all the due diligence is complete, and we're signing the shareholders agreement, we're signing the ESOP, it's the employee share option agreement. We always wanted to make everyone an owner at RTOWN, so we're signing that. We're signing the subscription agreement. It's a stack of papers about this big, and the investor then says, well, I'm really sorry this is a bit awkward, but I've had a hang up at the bank and I don't have the funds today. So, okay, no worries, no stress. We'll get it Monday. Yeah, no problem. This was on a Friday. Well, Monday comes and there's a foreign currency issue. Wednesday comes, he's in the hospital. Okay, this is weird. Okay, now it's time for an in-person visit. Thursday, we're literally shaking hands, looking at each other in the eye. He says, I promise I'll have the money for you tomorrow. I'm really sorry about this. Look, he opens up his laptop. Literally, there's the money. Don't worry about it. Friday comes and no check is produced. So now I'm faced with a really big decision. Now, the key thing about this story is about 6 months prior, the founding team at RTOWN, we got together and we codified our core values. There are 5 of them. They spell trust. So the first thing was comfort for me. The comfort was this wasn't a me decision. This was a we decision. He had broken trust. And I knew the team would be with me if I walked away. The scarier part was not knowing we would survive as an organization if we did. I could have just kept waiting and hanging on, but the fact was the trust was broken. And so the good news is we walked away. I phoned my lawyer, asked him if I could even take the deal off the table. I didn't even know if I could legally. He said, yes, you can, and off it went. So fast forward to 3 months, we didn't do the deal. This is how close we came to missing payroll. We didn't have to let go of a single RTOWNer. The whole team came to work and just focused on the next quarter. I took this photo knowing, and I actually knew a few days before payroll that we were well in the clear. I took this photo from a place of comfort to remind me that I will never forget how close we came. We started running profitably every single month. The whole team got behind this, from sales to delivery to the cash collection engine, which I was a part of that because that was the most strategic thing to get done. And so we've grown, had a lot of fun together. We're just about 20 people. We're projecting to 30 by the end of this year. There's absolutely no way I'm standing on this stage if it weren't for the tribe at RTOWN, who I'm incredibly grateful for, and if it weren't for us getting together and binding ourselves around these things. So I hope I've convinced you of the value of doing this within your own tribes. Go back and do the hard work of doing this. It will serve you well and possibly even save you. Let's talk about the evolved organization. I'm going to speed through this a bit because of time. Jim Collins is the author of Good to Great and many other books. He's a foremost thought leader in business. I love this quote. I totally believe in this, but most of the time organizations aren't aligned. And many of you might be in organizations where it feels a bit toxic, like maybe some departments are running their own business and it's not a collective, cohesive unit. It's all about alignment. I'm going to first start about alignment in talking about where I think Canadians are misaligned and at a disadvantage out of the gate. And I think we've got an epidemic of niceness going on. Everyone's so nice in Canada. We're so nice. People who travel here, you're so nice. Oh, I love Canadians. They're so nice. I love Canadians too. Don't get me wrong. And I like that we're nice, and I like that the world thinks fondly of us. But sometimes I think we're a little too nice. And I think if we're going to work toward getting aligned, we need to start doing something a little differently. We need to start approaching our conversations with each other with a little bit more radical candor, which comes from a place of challenging each other directly, but from a place of love. So if you see someone smoking weed and watching Netflix who really wants to do something with your life, maybe the nice thing to do isn't, oh, that's okay, I love them anyway. Maybe the nice thing to do is to shake them a bit. And particularly in our work environments where there's this whole boss-subordinate thing. Oh, the boss is always right. Bullshit. I'm a CEO. Let me tell you how many times I'm wrong. Many. I can't do this without the team challenging some of my assumptions and thinking. I can't do it without them. They can't do it without me. It's a mutual thing. But it really starts by having radically candid conversations to break down those barriers, because it's the only way we're going to work toward understanding the areas where we are misaligned in our organizations It's not going to be easy. Canadians are going to have to work at this. I recommend if you start practicing radically candid conversations with each other, go for a walk. Don't do it in the boardroom. Don't do it in the office. Go for a walk and talk. You'll see things break down. Go for a hike and talk. Things will break down. And we'll start moving to a place of trust, and maybe we won't have to do the corny trust falls at our corporate retreats. Maybe even we can start getting a little bit naked with each other. Now, the 33% super engaged, you're not showing up to work on Friday naked, please. That's not what I'm recommending. Do not do this. This is Amanda Palmer, by the way. She has a really great TED Talk about her taking her clothes off at a concert in Berlin and allowing her fans to write on her as if to say, I trust you this much. It's a really, really cool TED Talk. So no, I'm not saying we get naked, but what I am encouraging leaders of organizations to do is share your numbers. The score in business is kept the same way no matter which organization you're in, but we don't teach the score. I don't know a single sport that every player on a team doesn't understand how a score is being kept. And we have these business leaders talk about business like a sport all the time, but we're not opening up our financial statements to most of our employees. We're not teaching them how our organizations earn money and generate cash. It just baffles my mind. When I ask entrepreneurs, fictional CEO over here says, Luke, I'm making so much money, I don't want to show them my numbers. I'm afraid they're going to revolt. CEO number 2 says, Luke, I'm not going to show them my numbers. We're running so thin, I don't even know if we're going to survive. I'm afraid they're going to run away. Oh, okay, well, that's interesting. Well, look, first of all, guys, your employees aren't fucking stupid. Look, buddy, you got a house in the west side and 4 Maseratis. Trust me, they know you're doing okay. And you're pinching pennies over the cost of pens for the office. Trust me, they know cash isn't the most abundant resource. So first of all, they know. They don't know exactly how much and how it is, but they know something. And what do you want to do, by the way? Well, I want to grow my business. I want to grow it profitably. Okay, cool. What do you want to do? The same thing. I want to get through this cash issue and then start riding off into the sunset. I said, wouldn't it be cool if you engaged your tribe around how you're going to get there by first showing them where you are today and then showing them where you want to go together and beyond? And then the key piece to this is once you're showing them the score of business and teaching them the financial statements, give them a piece in the outcome. That's a single best way to create alignment between what the shareholders want and what the employees want, which is a stake in the winnings at the end of the day. And if we're growing it collectively, I think we're all going to win. By the way, in that Gallup study, 51% of employees today are shopping their resumes. So that's this whole side of the crowd and you too. In Canada, that's about 5 million employees estimated to be shopping their resumes. We talk about a talent war in a lot of sectors. By the way, 40% of this group would switch jobs for profit sharing, according to the study. Meanwhile, only 20% of employers are offering it today. So here's some low-hanging fruit to create alignment, I think. Let's talk about the org chart very briefly. I think we are starting to think about moving past the whole power and top-down hierarchy a little bit. Richard Branson is even talking about this, right? We need to think about things in terms of when our tribe is happy, our customers are happy. When our customers are happy, then our shareholders are happy. So think about the org chart inverted, but put it aside altogether because really it's not nearly as helpful. I think it's important in some ways how people relate to each other. But the most important thing to go to work on inside our organizations is functional accountability. It's about who is accountable for doing what and when and to whom. I won't go into it much, but I have a tool you can download at the end. I'll show you how. I also have a tool to help you get your core values, so you can download that later. I'm going to end on the B Corp in terms of how I feel things are misaligned. Corporations come out of the box with one stakeholder primarily from a legal point of view that they're accountable to, and that's shareholders. No other stakeholder matters in our corporations. I think this has led to lots of problems, personally. There's a movement happening as we speak, and you can do this today. It's called B Corp. B Corp is a way to incorporate our businesses with other stakeholders in mind, and this will free up directors to make decisions that are in the best interests of shareholders, the environment, the community, employees. It's a way more holistic and, I think, aligned approach to addressing problems in the world. The B, by the way, stands for benefit, so it's a benefit corp. I'm really proud RTOWN is one of them, as well as many great companies in BC. We're no stranger to the one in the top right in this room. Let's recap. I've come at you with a lot. Okay, so let's first by knowing our own personal core values and personal core purpose. Finding our tribe starts with us. It's going to take work from everybody and company leaders to get them clear. Build your own tribe with those in mind, or go and join one. And by the way, if you're going to join one, the best way to validate it is to not listen to guys like me. I don't know a single CEO that doesn't think they have the greatest culture in the world. Every CEO says, I got the greatest culture. The best way to validate if the CEO is telling the truth is to talk to their people. So with your hiring manager, ask to speak to some people, because it's the water cooler talk that truly dictates whether the culture is great or not. So there's a hint for you. Let's start having radically candid conversations with our tribe. Let's be a little nicer by being a bit more direct and from a deep place of love with each other. Shake ourselves out of our ruts. Let's get naked by sharing our numbers. Give each other a stake in the outcome. Let's get some winnings for everyone to create that alignment. Invert the thinking of our org charts. Create that functional accountability chart so people on the field know how to win with each other, know what they're accountable for, and align people, planet, and profit by becoming a B Corp. So that's my vision around what I think will be the steps toward radically larger employee engagement numbers, because when we find our tribe, we love what we're doing, and we love who we're doing it with. So I can see that over the time, if we do this, we're going to have employee engagement up to 100%. Maybe I'm an idealist there, but I do think that when we have that, there's no doubt in my mind that the future of our organizations will look like just as many companies in Canada starting up every single year, but a heck of a lot fewer failing every single year. And I think that would be a really cool country to live in. So no matter where you are and what tribe you're part of, I hope you find time to dance with each other as well, because that's a hell of a lot of fun. Thank you so very much for having me as one of your keynotes. I'll back up so you can get that slide. Thank you very much.